My name is Linda Showalter, not Lyndon Showalter, like I know you're all expecting to hear from. And unless you think you misread your invitation and wound up in the wrong place, you are not. Lyndon is indeed here and will be on the stage and speaking in just a few minutes. I am a Showalter though, but only because I was fortunate enough to talk one of you into marrying me. So I'm particularly honored that Lyndon asked me to share a few words with you this evening by way of welcome and introduction to the evening. Thank you very much for being here on behalf of Lyndon and Ruthie. A great deal of planning and preparation has gone into the evening, and I know it's gratifying to Lyndon and Ruthie both to realize that you're interested in our roots and who we are and how we came to be here and our connection that we have with each other. You're probably aware that tonight is part 2, because as Lyndon mentioned to those of us who were down at the dinner, we gathered here 3 years ago in this very place to learn about the Showalter history in Europe. And it left us all wanting to hear and learn more. So tonight we'll do just that, as Lyndon shares with us from his travels and his extensive research, the many facts and faces and stories and anecdotes that he's compiled over the years. And if you happen to have missed part 1 or would like to review it at any time, let me direct you to showalterhistory.com, where you can read it, or if you are, well, I guess you don't have to be computer savvy, most of you, but you can Google Showalter History on YouTube and watch it there. So you won't have missed anything if you didn't read it for that. So Lyndon has requested that we begin this part of the evening tonight by singing together a song by Yaz, one of your ancestors, Anthony J. Showalter. You should have found a song sheet on your seat, or close to your seat as you came in. Some of you may know it by heart. If you need a song sheet, move over and share one with someone who's sitting close, because you're probably related to them. So leading the song this evening will be my husband, William, you can call him Bill, Showalter, son of Clarence, grandson of Martin, and great-grandson of Noah. Bill?
Thank you for that introduction. Lyndon asked that we sing this song, Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. It was written by Anthony Showalter. The idea for this song came from Anthony Showalter. He was a principal of South Norman Musical Institute in Georgia. Showalter was a Presbyterian elder. He was now a well-known advocate of gospel music. He published over 130 music books. Showalter took personal interest in his students and enjoyed keeping up with them as the years passed. One evening in 1887, he was leading a song school in a local church in Alabama. After dismissing the class, he gathered his things together and headed home. When he got home, there was 2 letters waiting for him, both from former pupils. Each of these young men was heartbroken, having lost their lives. Professor Showalter went to the Bible, looked for a verse to comfort them. He selected Deuteronomy 33:27. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. And he penned, leaning, safe and secure from all alarm. So I thought we'll sing this, but Glenn Showalter asked me one time, he said, I think a lot of the Showalters are tenors. And I know Ronnie and I sing tenor, and I don't know how many other tenors we have, but I guess that's built within us. That's part of our heritage. But what I thought, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Bill, but you got it back.
Oh, I did. Okay.
J. Otis Yoder told me one time, he said, I never knew a Showalter that didn't sing bass.
Oh, okay. Well, then I did get it backwards. What I was going to do is I'm going to just leave the the sopranos, start the verse, and then when we get down to the chorus, everybody join in, and we'll hear the parts. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Everybody. Jesus, safe and secure.
Good singing if I'm any judge, and I'm not really. But. Okay, tonight we will hear the Showalter Generations in America from Jacob to Maryland, as presented by Lyndon Alva Showalter. He's married to Ruthie Sollenberger, and together they have raised 5 adult children. Lyndon loves to travel, and last year this time, he and Ruthie were visiting their daughters in Ecuador on missions trips. He's also a runner and has participated in several marathons and ultramarathons. Just last week, this time, were you still running with this time? No, he was done. He was participating in an ultramarathon in Washington County, Maryland. Imagine it, that's 50 miles. This is particularly impressive to me since I can hardly walk to my mailbox. But his goal was just to finish. He hasn't participated in a while, so his goal was just to finish, and he did that in fine fashion. He finished in less than 10 hours, 9 hours and 46 minutes, which if you're a runner, or even if you're not, like I'm not, that's very impressive. Congratulations, Lyndon. All the while working on this for us. Lyndon inherited his love of genealogy from his father, Roy Moab Showalter, whom I worked for many years ago in the accounting department at Loggensville Lumber Company. In fact, I remember Lyndon coming as just a squirt, almost, in the summer times to file cash sales receipts in the vault. And now he's chairman of the Mennonite Historical Association of Cumberland Valley. He's passionate about his family's history and has gathered lots of information and stories. He lives and works in Waynesboro as a certified public accountant. And let's just be honest, Lyndon is what makes tax time bearable for Bill and I. because every spring when we visit him about the 12th or 13th or 14th of April, he takes time out of his almost round-the-clock work schedule to regale us with stories of his exploits and where he's been and people he's met and what he's learned about our shared family tree. And we always love to hear what he has to say. And so when he began talking about the possibility of doing this kind of thing and sharing those stories with you all, we got very, very excited. And now here we are, already at part 2, and who knows where it might lead. I know you're as eager to hear from Lyndon as I am. So, Lyndon, son of Roy, grandson of Alva, great-grandson of Moab, I give you the floor.
Good evening and welcome. I hope this technology works and does what it's supposed to do, because I think you don't want to just hear my words, but there's pictures and illustrations to help make the story go well. So we'll see if it's working, and it looks like it is. 3 years ago, I gave a presentation that I called Showalter Generations in Europe. We started in the village of Strengelbach in Switzerland. I showed a typical homestead, the type that our Swiss ancestors might have lived in. They could have, in fact, lived in this very home or within a mile of it. Strengelbach is located midway between the Swiss capital of Bern and the largest city of Zurich, and there's Strengelbach. We followed 8 generations, starting with Hans, the earliest documented Showalter, who paid tax in the form of farm crops, down to Hans's relative Sylvester, whose children were baptized in the Zofingen Reformed Church. The church record of infant baptisms helps us know how these early generations are connected, one generation to the next. We followed several generations of Jacobs, the third one of whom joined the Anabaptists and left Switzerland and settled on a farm called Schafbusch in the Alsace. Alsace is the political ping-pong ball that has bounced back and forth between Germany and France for centuries. Today is part of France. In the extreme northeast corner of France. We learned that the Jacob who left Switzerland for Alsace had a grandson, also named Jacob, who left Alsace for Pennsylvania. In 1750, 50-year-old Jacob, along with his wife Maria and all 11 of their children, floated down the Rhine River to Rotterdam in the Netherlands. At Rotterdam, they boarded a ship, a Quaker-owned English ship called Brotherhood. John Thompson was captain of the ship. Short journey across the English Channel to Cowes on the Isle of Wight, and from there to the wide-open Atlantic Ocean. They traveled with their Anabaptist neighbors, the Basler family, who were also from the Schafbusch area of Alsace. The trip across the ocean probably took 6 to 12 weeks. On November 3, 1750, the English ship Brotherhood arrived in Philadelphia with 300 passengers, including the entire Jacob Showalter family and the Jacob Basler family. Upon landing, the immigrants filed through the courthouse, where all the men plus the boys aged 16 and over signed their names on the ship register. Jacob Basler and his 3 sons signed. They are in the top of this list. Jacob Showalter and his 5 oldest sons also signed. Jacob and the 5 signatures below that. Jacob signed his name in the Old Swiss writing, Schowalder. Jacob's wife Maria, their 3 daughters, and their 3 younger sons were with them, but they did not sign. Of the 11 children, our line comes through Daniel, who as a 12-year-old was one who did not sign the register. Now our line also comes through Barbara, who later married Henry Funk, and they are the great-grandparents of Elizabeth or Betsy Shank Showalter, Michael's wife. You'll hear a lot more about Michael and Betsy later, but for now, just know that our line from Jacob and Maria comes 2 ways, through Daniel and through Barbara. And I also mentioned the Boslers, because if your grandparents are Alpha and Katie, or Amos and Rhoda, you have Jacob and Veronica Bosler in your line. They are ancestors of sisters Katie Shank and Rhoda Shank.